Welcome to the Trivium Talk Podcast, where we talk about things inside and outside of the gym. We've got a great show today. Super excited about it. We're going to start with our quick hits. For our quick hits, we have Maddie here. Maddie is our CrossFit Trivium nutritionist. She's got some things she's going to talk about in regards to nutrition. So, Maddie?
Hey guys, Coach Maddie here with Trivium Nutrition. We have some exciting things coming up for everyone for the CrossFit Open, which is coming up super soon. So for anyone registered for the CrossFit Open, you guys get 2 months of $20 off of your nutrition. So that will run both February and March. If you've been on the fence about signing up, this is a great time to do it. Jump in. We'll help you strategize for all that. And then we're also working on lots of great open resources that will be hitting your inbox soon. So lots of fun things with strategy for fueling, recovery, all things that are just very doable and not overwhelming, hopefully. So keep your eye out for that on your inbox. And then any questions, find us, ask us. That's what we're here for.
Very cool, very cool. Maddie, what's your contact info if people want to get in touch with you?
You guys can email me at MaddiemFitness, MADDIEM Fitness @gmail, or I'm always around the gym, so just come track me down for sure, and we'll connect.
Very cool. Or of course, you can ask any of your coaches, Matt or myself, and we'll get you guys hooked up. So yeah, thanks for jumping in and talking about that. You're going to see that on the rest of the podcast. We're super excited about that. Going to be great. All right, so on to our topic for today. So we've got our main topic, and then we've got a little fun game at the end like we've been doing. But our topic for today, what does it mean to train smart? That's a term that gets thrown around a lot. I think you'll hear it online, you'll hear it on socials, you hear people say, "Oh, I'm just training smart today." I think it gets overused to the point where now nobody really understands, knows what it means, or it has no real true meaning or definition. So we wanted to talk about that today.
Yes, I think, training smart is, at least where we're at, it feels like a big buzzword. It's like, I got to train smart, so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, I think it's different for everyone, which also makes it mean like it has no meaning. So I kind of just brought it up to Nate, like, what does it actually mean to train smart? And let's just try to break it down and see if we can find a solution for it. So yeah. I think the first thing is like, what is not training smart? I think most people can like agree to that, where it's like the simple ones are like, well, your body's broken and you keep training. That seems like not a smart thing to do. But some people are like, no, I just got to push forward and like keep grinding because that's what matters. And I think like if you're continuing to just work on things that you like, I think that's not training smart. That also, now we're getting into, well, what are your goals? And it's like, well, if your goals are that you just want to do something consistently and train and be healthy, then I think it's not a bad thing to do what you like to do. It's not dumb to just, well, I like running, so I'm going to go run.
There's one key point of not training smart that I think we should talk about, right? And I see it every single day in the gym. And it's one you kind of want to address, but sometimes you might hurt feelings. If you are following a program, like we put out, like an 8-week program, and week 1, it says we're going RPE 7. Why would you try to max out that day?
Right. Yes. And that's...
Follow the program you're on. Otherwise, why are you on it? Yeah. That's not a smart way to train. It's going outside of the parameters of the program. If you want to see results of what you're doing, it's written for a reason. It's set up that way for a reason. All the time, training members, I see this where it says, hey, RPE 7, which we all know means about 70%. And you hit 70% and you're feeling strong. And you're like, I'm just going to go for a PR today. Right. And then the next week you can't hit RPE 8. Right. Wonder why.
This actually comes out well because I think, universal for everyone inside the gym, maybe even outside the gym, we see this happen on deload week, right? Yeah. So it's like, hey, we typically have a progression of 1 through 4, we're building up those weeks. And week 5, we're going to have a deload. And so the workouts are designed specifically to be easier. But since they are easier, everyone's like, I'm going to hammer it. This is a chance for me to like win a workout.
Yeah.
When we say in the notes, hey, you should feel better coming out of this week than when you came in. And then by Thursday, everyone's like, I'm wrecked, dude. I just went like, oh my God, I went so hard on Wednesday and Tuesday. And it's like, why were you going hard this week?
Yeah.
Again, like there's always going to be nuances. Like, hey, some people can't train regularly, so they don't need a deload week, and that's fine. But it's like we're talking about your not stereotypical, but let's just say like your average.
Yeah. You're 4 times a week, 5 times a week. They're
so
consistent in their training.
Right.
They're in there a lot. I think it's a trap that just we as CrossFitters we fall into of like, hey, if I'm not dying on the floor every single day, I didn't get a good workout.
Yeah.
Or I didn't train well that day. And it's just not true. Right. So that kind of brings us into our next thing. It's like train smart versus easy. What's that what's the misconception there? We're already kind of on that, right? Where we're into the deload week and training easy, training hard.
Yeah.
What's like a common misconception of I'm phoning it in today versus I'm following the plan?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to hear Maddie's opinion on this, because if we don't know, if I can share with everyone, Maddie is how many weeks? Maddie's 32 weeks. And so now she has to think about training smart at this point, right?
Yeah.
But we also don't want to train easy either, or it just kind of depends on it. So like, Maddie, what are you doing in the gym to still get good workouts without just calling it training easy?
This is something that your wife has helped me with a lot too. But I think that just as goals shift with like where you're at, it's now our goals are not, hey, can I be really fit? Right now, it's like, how can I recover quicker after the baby? So it's, hey, like maybe right now jumping and all these different things aren't the best, but lots of mobility, stretching, like still lifting and moving and staying mobile, but kind of like shifting that, which I've never been good at this, but like, hey, what's the long-term goal instead of just killing yourself every day of what's going to set us up well, 4 months down the road.
That makes sense, right? So you're training more for a purpose. And again, it's like we talked about being on a track and training for, a specific track. You have an end game purpose, and it's not about that day or that week. It's, hey, I know that 4 months from now, this is coming. Yeah. It's not a competition. It's not a CrossFit Games. It's not the Open. It's recovering from birthing a human being.
Yeah.
And so all of that is at the forefront of your priority of how you're training day in and day out. It's how you look at workouts, how you attack the workouts, the movements that you do, all those things are prepping you for that thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that much different than training for a comp or anything like that, but applying the same logic of training smart versus, just butter yourself all the time.
Yeah. So like something that I've talked with Nicole a lot is we're getting to a point in her pregnancy where we're not even trying to mimic what the workout is doing as far as like, okay, what's a substitute for toes to bar? It's like, well, you want to try to do slam balls. And it's like, whatever. It's like, it's not even about that anymore, because that will almost get away from the stimulus if we're just trying to quote unquote dumb it down to a point. So now we're just like, hey, what's going to get you a good workout?
Yeah.
And so for her, that is training smart, because like instead of toes to bar, it may be shoulder to overhead, something that's completely different, but allows her to move with intensity without jeopardizing her goals at the other end, because she just wants to have a strong body to be able to go through the I'm still a guy, says to give birth. It's like that doesn't mean training easy, but that also, I think there's a lot of it too going into training easy. There is a lot of listening to yourself. And I think with all of our ladies that are kind of going through this pregnancy process, which we have more than two, that
and we had a bunch go through it.
Right.
So.
Right. And so it's just like, sometimes training easy is the smart thing to do as well. What it is, just come, move, and do that. And so being able to listen to your body, I think, is really smart. I think having someone there that can look at it objectively is probably one of the best winners too. It's like, hey, are you taking it easy because you're tired, or are you taking it easy because it's a smart thing to do, or you just, whatever. And it's like, okay, let's talk about it, and either A, talk you off the ledge and be like, it's okay to take it easy today, or hey, I think actually let's just change it up a little bit where it's a little bit more motivating to try to do something, because I think some of that is a challenge too, where it's like, I don't want to keep scaling workouts here. So let's just find a good way to go through it. I mean, training smart is a lot of different things, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, are we meeting the goal of the day? I can reword that a little better. Of just
so we talked about there's that goal of that long-term goal, right? And now we're breaking that down into a day.
Right.
How does training that day meet that long-term thing?
Right. So I think if we're training smart, we can still go into all the tropes of just like people that are jumping programs from like, well, I do mayhem on day 1, then I go and do EMOM on day 2, then I hop into the class on day 3. Right. It's like, well, if it's fun and that's what your goal is, to have fun, then absolutely go do it. But if your goal is to progress in a skill or progress in strength, then you need to stick with a program and seek it through. But if you're not seeing the progress, then think about moving and going from there. What else?
Yeah, we talked about knowing the goal of the day. We talked about, what does not smart training look like? We've talked about smart versus easy. What does that really mean, right? Choosing the right things, not just phoning it in, that kind of thing. And one of the things we hit on last time, but also is pertinent to this, the intent of the workout and knowing how and when to modify and scale. I think that's a big part of training smart. We talked about it in depth last week, but in that, even in what you were just talking about, scaling, modification, choosing the right moments, I think that's part of training smart. Right? If you got a bum shoulder, it's not the time to to show the bravado and ego that I'm just trying to fight through the pain. It's like, listen, one of the things I like to tell members is, are you uncomfortable or is that pain, right? If you have shoulder pain from a movement, we probably shouldn't work through pain. If it's just discomfort, that's a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't train through pain, but we can train through discomfort. And so with that in mind, like scaling, just a quick, I know we hit it last time, but just a quick conversation on that.
Yeah. And to kind of lean into even more, like we're almost getting into like what's smart programming, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where like I'm gonna chomp the bit to talk about it. Just like if I have an athlete that I know has a bum shoulder, then we're not gonna sit here and do handstand push-ups every single day.
Yeah.
But it's like, so that's the easy, well, duh math. But it's like, hey, as an athlete, we have to be aware too. It's like, where am I at in my injury? Am I in the I just need to back off altogether? Then let's just modify everything and not use that shoulder at all. Once it starts to recover and the inflammation is down, it's like, okay, now we're going to start with just activation. Can we go pain-free there? Cool. Let's start to add in pieces that just move the muscle, but doesn't necessarily have to be anything specific. Beyond that, then we talk about movement introduction. It's like, okay, today is asking for 30 pull-ups. You haven't done a pull-up yet. Let's just see if we can get through like 3 today in the warm-up and then back off. Okay, great. And then you start to reintroduce it. Okay, now I want you to do sets of 5, and then you're back into it. So the smart way is just, I always want to be 2 days behind of wherever your recovery is. So it's like, if you feel like you're ready to do handstand push-ups today, let's give it 2 more days and then go from there, because then we're going to be overly prepared, and who cares about time?
Yeah.
Like, let's just go for it. So, yes, that when we're scaling back, we look at it from an injury standpoint, but I think also just from an overwork standpoint too. I do see a lot of people that are trying to work through double unders, and like we do it every day. I think that can be done, but I always try to limit to, like, hey, limit to 6 minutes and then get away from it.
Yeah.
If we spend 30 minutes every single day working on double unders, some people will survive and get better at it, but most people are going to blow up their calves or Achilles, or their knees start to hurt, and then you're not going to work on it anymore.
Yeah, then you have a huge gap in what you're doing, and you bring up double unders. We talked about it last week. I'm dealing with some of this ankle and knee stuff, and the previous week I was doing sets of 10 because that's what I could tolerate. We're reintroducing that movement. This week we had another workout with double unders, prepping for the Open, and I bumped it up to 20 and felt good, right? But the previous week I didn't overtrain it, I didn't overdo it, I didn't panic because the jump wasn't right, and that I got to do this every single day and ruin the progress I've made, right? So we talk about training smart, we talk about scaling with intent, recovering from what you're doing and allowing that time is also a part of it.
Well, before even going there, so I think all 3 of us, we've been doing this long enough to understand how to do that, but how does someone who's brand new know what's to train smart? Like, how do I know? It's like, well, that's cool, Nate, you've been doing this for a long time, you've been around a lot of people who've given you a lot of good knowledge, but how does someone who's brand new to the game know how to train smart?
Yeah, they don't. They need to work with their coaches too to have that. And so one of the things, whenever a new person is coming on board and they're asking all these questions about CrossFit, hey, I heard you get hurt a lot. And I heard this. It's like, listen, the number one thing that we need as coaches is communication from our athletes. Tell us what's going on. Tell us what feels good and what doesn't. Where are you at? What are you concerned about? So in a class, when you're getting arm, shoulder, whatever we're using, it's like you got to talk to your coach. They're the experts at this, and they're able to walk you through and find the right movement to preserve that. Right. You're not the expert. Don't come in and just be like, well, I got to power through it because everybody else in class is doing it, right? So I don't know, what do you think?
No, that's kind of segues. I was just going to say ego. I think that's like the biggest. And that goes even with like nutrition stuff I do is if a client's like, I've been perfect and like hitting all my macros for 2 weeks, it's like, cool, but is that sustainable? And I think that's the question you always have to ask yourself in the gym is like, yeah, maybe I can beat Sally over here today and kill myself, but then am I going to be doing CrossFit in 6 months, or am I going to be out with a shoulder injury or whatever? So I think just taking ego away and looking, long term. Sally's the worst.
The answer isn't don't come to the gym. The answer is come to the gym, get with your coach, and have a plan.
Yeah. So whether it's injury or just learning skill, from the injury side first, I always tell people when something comes up, I'm like, you're injured, you're not dead. Okay, so you can still move. 95% of your body moves really, really well right now. Let's focus on that. When it's skill progression, definitely lean into your coaches on this. I'm like, hey, what do I need to do to get better? Our coaches are pumped when we hear that. When someone is coming to us about trying to get better at skills, we know exactly what we need to do.
Absolutely.
So from the recovery side of it, I mean, let's just be smart. I don't think we need to get into huge like details on it, but for most things, if we're learning new skills, I think like 2 to 3 times a week is plenty if we're doing the right things, right? If we are training smart and working through progressions the way we're supposed to, 2-3 times at most is plenty, while still trying to maintain all the other fitness levels that you're trying to get. From an injury standpoint, it really just depends on where you're at. If this is a chronic injury, this has been going on for a long time, we probably need to meet it with a lot more rest to figure out what's going on first, and then go seek our professional help over at Be Ready to kind of tell you like, hey, this is something we can work on. And then as you feel better, always take it 1 day or 2 days behind what you think you can do, because usually when things start feeling good, it's like, all right, let's rip the band and go. So
yeah, I think recovery, if we just, I'll bring it back to when I talk to new folks coming in, because I know if they're coming from not a CrossFit background, I know they're going to be sore. I know those first couple of weeks are going to feel like, holy cow, what did I just do to myself? But it's just a different foreign feeling. You want to break it down to digestible things, manageable things. So it's always, for me, it's like, listen, if you can prioritize protein in your diet, if you can prioritize getting sleep at night, and then make sure you take some rest days. Just those 3 basic things, right? We don't overload them with a lot of things. We talked about it last week. You don't want to have somebody come and then just give them a 25 list of things they have to do in order to be successful. You'll lose them. But yeah, talk about like from a nutrition standpoint. I'm not the nutritionist. You are. I just usually give the very basic, like, hey, make sure you're getting enough protein in your diet. Yeah. That's literally, that's my advice. And from there, it's like, here's Maddie's number.
No, I love that. Honestly, with nutrition, protein is where I start with everyone. Because chances are, if you're eating, let's say, 25 grams of protein, I try to say, like, hey, every 3 hours, get like an iPhone size worth of protein. If you're doing that, chances are you're not just gonna need a plate of chicken. Like, you're gonna kind of naturally build that up to something healthy. You'll probably have some veggies in there. So I think, without overwhelming people, start with protein, like every 3 hours, iPhone size, whether that's chicken, eggs, whatever that is. And then from there, I'm a big fan of food quality over numbers, so don't even stress about that yet. But if we're eating out and eating all kinds of salt and processed stuff, just think of the inflammation in your body. That's not going to help you with the workouts. Like if we're trying to recover, we got to keep that inflammation low, keep things, just cook from home. Like if I could do 2 things, it'd be cook at home, iPhone size worth of protein every 3 to 4 hours, and you're going to feel so much better.
Right. Most people, if you put 2 plates of food in front of them and say, hey, which one do you think is better? They're going to be able to choose which one is better. So it just comes down to making choices when you're out, when you're at home, and all those things. It's not about, locking yourself in your room and counting every single one of your macros and bringing your Tupperware to TGI Fridays. That's not what we're getting at. Right. It's about making the right choices where you can to maximize the impact of what you're trying to do. That's the way I look at it, especially for someone brand new. If you're 5 years in and you're like, hey, I need to do that, you can start to dial that stuff in really well. But at that point, you've built all those habits to support that change. Right now, you're coming in trying to build a new habit, and we just want to help you make good choices to accomplish that goal, whatever that looks like, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's probably been one of the biggest benefits to my training in 2025 is we really took a look at what are we eating without even looking about like how much are we eating. We made a conscious effort to try to cut out as much seed oils as possible. It's really hard when you start to look at it, and then starting to cut out the artificial stuff, as much as we can. I think obviously there is some give and go, just like holiday season. People are bringing food over. You're not gonna be like, sorry, my diet. It's like whatever. You can apply an 80-20 rule to a lot of things, and nutrition could probably be one of those if you're just getting started. But all that to say, the inflammation has been so huge on coming down. Haven't had any knee problems, which has been since high school. I've had knee issues, no shoulder issues, no injuries, and I feel good and ready to train. And I'm not feeling bloated isn't the right word, but it's just I just feel better. And I would be one of the first to just tell you if it's not true, I'm like, oh, dude, don't listen to him. If it didn't work, then I'd be the first to tell you. But if I can't tell you how good it's been trying to just eat better quality food, even though we didn't eat bad, but you just start to look at what's actually in this rice that I'm putting in the microwave. There's better stuff out there, and you didn't even know it was hurting you. So anyway. Yeah, what else?
I think so. Just to kind of wrap it up, and we've sort of talked about this along the way, but again, training smart, what do all those things mean? We've been through a bunch of those. And the final one, I think, is just you got to think long term. Each of the things we've talked about today fits into sort of a puzzle for a plan and whatever that long term goal is. And, I'm a big play the long game guy. You're probably not going to win everything on day one. You're probably going to not win everything on day 7. But if you do things consistently throughout and you play that long game for your end goal, you're going to end up winning. Whether you have an injury, whether you fall off your nutrition, whatever those things happen, those ups and downs and things. We've talked about it almost being like a stock market trend, right? If you do the right things over time, you're going to have peaks and valleys, but overall, you're headed in that right direction. So I think that's just a big thing when you talk about training smart. Don't stress out about today. Make the right decision for today, and then stress out about not stress, but focus on the long-term goal.
Yeah, thinking about going back on what Maddie said about your ego. Are you trying to win today's workout, or are you just trying to get better overall?
Yeah.
And I think once you kind of make the mind shift of, I actually need to get better at toes to bar. I'm just going to work on my kip swings today, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'll just power through singles just so I can beat my classroom rival. It's like, yeah, but you didn't get better at toes to bar. You just did what you've been doing the whole time. But then, if you work on it now, 6 months from now, you're going to be a stud at it. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad I took the time back then to take the L. So now that you can,
Nobody's going to remember that I beat Stuart by 7 seconds on a Tuesday afternoon in September.
Except for Stuart.
Except Stuart.
Yeah.
But 4 months from now, when I'm able to do 100 double unders unbroken, it was like, whoa, that's cool. How did you do it? It's like, well, I stuck to the plan.
Right, exactly. So
yeah, I think that's a great takeaway. Cool. We got a game.
yes, Maddie, you can judge, see who wins this. Today's game. So we're in playoff season in the NFL. So it's we've got one team still that we care about.
Yeah.
That are in. Maybe next year.
It was a catch. That's all I'm going to say.
So I thought it'd be kind of fun to, and we're getting close to the Open as well. So I thought it'd be fun to build a CrossFit Games team with active NFL players. So obviously there's some rules here. It's going to be 4 guys. Okay. So, but we're going to imagine if you have to take a team to the CrossFit Games, who are you bringing with you? And I thought we could do it with a draft. There are a couple little rules to this. So we're not just drafting all running backs. You can only draft one player from one position, but each team can have one. So if you draft a running back, I can still draft a running back, but you can't draft another one after that. So once they're off the board, you have to go with a different position right there. Okay.
All right.
I hope that makes sense.
Yep. 4 players, got to be different positions.
Mm-hmm.
And our criteria is they would be good CrossFitters. They would compete well as a team at the CrossFit Games.
You take that how you want. Yes. I'm trying to build a team. I'm trying to build the best team.
I got a team, CrossFit team.
Yes.
4. All right. Rock, paper, scissors. Who goes first?
You go for it.
Really?
Nate's going to go number 1 pick.
All right.
This is not a snake draft. This is just going to go back and forth. And we'll see who's got our top 4. And if we want to draft a 5th, maybe for our alternate, we can do that too.
Saquon Barkley.
Okay, so off the board, watch Saquon.
Crazy power, short burst, really, really strong. So he's probably going to win the lift. And I think when you get into a workout that requires, as a team, somebody to get down and get back quickly and maybe move some heavy weight, he's going to be my specialist.
Are you worried that maybe he's a little too old now after looking at production from last year? The Eagles.
Because in CrossFit on team, I'm not running him 48 plays. I'm running him 3.
Okay.
He's going to give me that.
Does he need to be surrounded by better players to really shine, or do you think he can carry a team?
I'm viewing him as a specialist, and I think that he's going to win whatever I put him at. He's not going to love the 1 mile run, 3,000 meter row. Mm-hmm. But when he's got to sprint out there and do max reps of 4 or 5 deadlifts, he's going to win by a landslide.
Okay, so I think it's a great pick. Obviously, I'm just going to touch both goals where I can. So I'm going to take my first pick. I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey. I think it's a no-brainer. I think if you can keep him healthy, he's the best one out there. And so what I'm going to try to do is build a team around him where he can really shine without having to worry about taking all the load. Although he can if he needs to. He can put up 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving on any game against anyone. So I think that's your I can do all things player. That shows that he can do it anywhere. He's on the East Coast and West Coast.
I had him at number 3. My number 2 is actually Jahmyr Gibbs. He was the other guy I was considering. I just think he's a workhorse. But anyways, all right, running backs are off the table then.
No more running backs.
No more running backs. I am going to go. He's a bit of a wild card, but I think just from a freak of nature, I'm going DK Metcalf from a wide receiver.
Okay.
He is just an athletic absolute freak.
I don't want anything to do with that.
He's
You
not
don't
really
know-
happy when
Yeah.
they're heckling him from the from the
you
rope
don't know.
podium.
Yeah, you don't even know if he's going to
But
show up that day.
I think that he's a freak. Yeah, I'm going with it. I'm sticking with it.
I definitely didn't think wide receivers were going to go number 2 in this. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the steal of the draft and go Myles Garrett. The guy is the sack leader. He can do it from any position. He is strong. He is fast. You've seen the highlights outside of football. He can dunk easy. He is a stud, and he's a defensive player of the year. So why would you not want him on your team? Especially the way CrossFit's going right now, where we're seeing a lot of high power output workouts going. You got to have Myles Garrett on your team. So I'm taking him.
You can have him. I am taking Micah Parsons because I think he is everything you just said and just a little bit more and a little bit better.
Sure. And then it has to be healthy.
Yeah, it's got to be healthy. They all do. All right. So my team right now, Saquon, Metcalf.
And Micah Parsons.
And
Yes, I'm going Christian McCaffrey. I've got Myles Garrett. I can't go with the defensive end anymore. I do think this is the time that I have to go for it. Again, I think we're going with good team chemistry here. We're going to go ahead and bring a guy who has a lot of grit, doesn't have anything that's just off the board as far as talent-wise, but somehow manages to be a game wrecker. I'm taking Puka Nacua. Absolutely. You're talking about he's already won a Super Bowl. He's the best receiver in the league over DK Metcalf. Has a way that he can get stuck on the line and then somehow finds a 4-yard gain, and the next thing you know, he's over the top scoring touchdowns. Puka Nacua.
I like it. My team needs some leadership because I've got a couple of guys on here that, or at least one that can be a wild card. I've got some specialists and I've got some freak athletes I feel really good about.
I know. You just go ahead and say it. You know.
But we've got to have a guy that's going to galvanize that team, right? And he's combines rare strength. He's got running power. I'm going to hope to God that we bring back the baseball throw. Joshua Patrick Allen. Anchor my team.
Why it wasn't your first pick, I have no idea.
Don't do anything. Except win the big game. Leadership, though, listen, now he's got the supporting cast.
I know.
He can lead them into battle.
I know if it's the final event at the CrossFit Games and your team is tied,
Look out.
you're not winning. You haven't won a single overtime game with Josh Allen. I know these stats. There's a bonus workout after the end of the game. We're done. That's it. He's like, God, we can't do it anymore. I think honestly it's a great pick. He's a stud. If you have to go with the quarterback, he's kind of got all the talent. He can run, he can throw. Everyone seems to like him. So people are going to show up to train if Josh Allen's there. So you can maybe kind of dial in DK Metcalf with it. So it kind of saves it having him there. So right now I've got Christian McCaffrey, I got Myles Garrett, and I got Puka. I think when I think about one of the issues with CrossFit Games is when you start to bring in the worm, there's a height differential that becomes an issue. I don't know if that's been thought about with Saquon, DK, and Josh. You've got Saquon's almost just kind of taken out of the worm because you have two huge athletes on your team. Yeah. So just keeping that in mind as we think about this, Maddie. So I too am going to go ahead and go with the quarterback. He is the strong silent type. I think he is a guy who's just going to be there on the back end of the worm. He's just going to do the work and then not say anything. That you can always believe in him. I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles. The dude can squat heavier than anyone that I know of. So I think he's going to be able to handle the strength. And he's not the fastest out there, but he's super athletic. He's won national championships. He's won Super Bowls, unlike other quarterbacks that have been drafted in here before him. And I think he's always got a chip on the shoulder.
As long as he doesn't have to throw a football, he might be a really good fit.
So to finish out, that was our 4 right there. So
I like it.
I went with Christian McCaffrey, Myles Garrett, Puka Nacua, and then Jalen Hurts to round it out. Well, Nate, you had
Saquon Barkley, K. Metcalf, Micah Parsons, and Joshua Patrick Allen.
So, guys, if you'd like to leave in the comments who you thought did better, Maddie, who do you think off the top?
Gosh. I wouldn't even know.
With your extensive football knowledge?
I think y'all
Probably
agree. And the people can
We'll let the
decide.
people decide. Drop your team in the comments.
Yeah,
you guys
who
know
did we
the
miss?
rules. Who did we miss? Who didn't we think of? What's one that maybe could have been incredible? I'll tell you.
Give me an alternate, because I got one.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I thought George Kittle would actually make a really good, CrossFitter, I think. But I'm looking at a lot more intangibles, and I think you're the coach, so you've seen a lot more of those. You've coached games that.
I want Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner.
I want him. He's a vet. He's been there for a long time. He can still, I was going to say something weird, but no.
I'm with you. No, I see it. I still got the fire. So yeah. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. We went a little bit longer today. If there's one thing that we want to leave you with today, training smart is not necessarily about doing less. It's about doing what actually moves the needle, meets your long-term goals, and gets you to accomplish that thing you're looking to do. So don't think of training smart as having to sacrifice something. Think of it as prioritizing what needs to be prioritized. We'll see you guys in the gym.
Thanks.